Black folks ain't poor because black folks don't know how to handle their money. Black folks are poor because America f***ed us. I tell you. All right, so I'm on Twitter. I'm trying to get prepared for the show. I just had a show at 8:30 on Pause with Tim Black, so I just came off his show. And I was like, man, I'm tired, but I gotta get pumped up. I know, like, if I was a traveling performer or comedian, you gotta do a couple sets a night. Maybe like 3 a day. So I'm like, okay, but you know what? It's okay. Because tonight I got phone calls, y'all. When I got phone calls, my people talk. I don't have to talk. I just open up the show, give a couple of news updates, and then I let my people talk and carry the rest of the show. And then I chime in. But I don't have to overwhelm. We're having a conversation. I don't need to go in. I already went in for over an hour, almost an hour and a half on the Pause show. So I'm not doing this for fun. And I'm not doing this because, I want controversy. Give me all the smoke. That's not what I'm doing this for, okay? I'm doing this because it was brought to my attention. And frankly, I wish I didn't have to do it, okay? I wish I didn't have to do it. Now, what am I talking about? I got to G-check Dr. Umar Johnson. Yeah, I got to G-check Dr. Umar Johnson. I don't want to have to G-check Dr. Umar Johnson. But Dr. Umar Johnson is talking out of school. He's talking out of school, and he is misleading my people. Dr. Umar Johnson, I walked away from the progressives. I came to kick it with black folks on black issues to help us get reparations and a black agenda. And I'll be damned if I don't walk over and hear you undermining all that work that we're trying to do, all the work that people have been doing since forever on this issue, all the organizations that have been working on it, all the people that, and not only that, not just the hard work, all my ancestors, who we are their offspring, who are looking down thinking we are owed this. And what do we got? We got Dr. Umar Johnson talking out of school, running off at the mouth and not making any sense about something that's very serious. Now, and I said to myself, I said, Tim Black, do you sure you want to go down this road? Because it's going to cause controversy. What if this becomes like a back and forth? It's not going to become a back and forth because he ain't going to have nothing to say when I'm done. So there's nothing to go back and forth about. He wrong, I'm right, in the story. My job is to enlighten him. But that still wasn't enough, Dr. Umar, because I'm like, that still ain't enough for me to do it. I mean, I could put out an article tomorrow. The reason why I'm doing it is because of this. I am not a hypocrite. I am not a hypocrite, Johnson. And if one of those progressives that I used to work with, I've been on their show, they've been on my show, if they would have said this shit that you said, I'd have had no hesitation to go in. So with that in mind, folks, here goes the clip of Dr. Umar Johnson being wrong for about 2 minutes straight. Nothing in this is right. Here it is.
Yes, we should get reparations. Yes, we are entitled to reparations, but we don't need them. We don't need them. We a $2 trillion economy. Why do we need reparations? Why?
Okay, I'm going to stop him there. Let's stop him right there. I was going to let him go. Then we got to remember what he said, and it's going to be so much to correct. So, Dr. Umar Johnson said, we deserve reparations. Why not just stop there? Like, why? That should be the end of the conversation. Now, it'd be better if you said we are owed reparations. Owed. That would be a better word, but I prefer owed. You use deserved. Fine. Schematics. I ain't tripping. Synonyms. Okay. Because you deserve what you're owed. You're owed what you deserve. Okay. But why not end it there? Because Now he's going to say, then he went right directly. So I'm wrong. Let me correct myself. You did say one thing that was correct. One thing you said that was correct, I'm going to give you total credit for this. And respectfully, I'm telling you sincerely, you're correct. We do deserve reparations. We do. Okay? Now, everything else you said is nonsense. Starting with the next sentence. You said, but why do we need them? We have a something $1 trillion economy. Black people don't have their own economy. No, America has an economy. We don't have a separate country. Not America. No. We share. This is a U.S. economy. See, you're operating in a fallacy like black people live on their own island. We don't live on our own island. If we lived on our own island, we might not, and had that been the case, we wouldn't be in America. We might not need reparations. But that's not the case. We live in America. America has an economy. And since black folks have generated such a huge amount of money, to the tune that some have estimated quadrillions worth of profit generated from slave labor that America has benefited from, and did not have to pay a single black slave any of that money. So you saying we have wealth, or we have all this wealth, and that don't have nothing to do with it. I'm not even going to argue about how much money we have. I'm not going to argue that black people got some money. That's good. We should have some money. We work hard as fuck. Black people are hard workers. So we should have money. Now, I want to do something that you didn't do. I don't want to be too lengthy, but I got to do this. I want to use some numbers and some facts because you didn't use any. My brother, you know what I'm saying? Because anybody could just talk. You know what I'm saying? Like just say shit. But it'd be better if you had some facts. So I want to reference this, okay? Turn to the book. Please, everyone, turn to the book.
Yes, we should get reparations. Yes.
Everyone, turn to the book of What We Get Wrong About Closing the Racial Wealth Gap. You can find this on ActifiedPress.com. It's written by William Sandy Darity Jr., Dr. Derek Hamilton. Let me repeat. By Dr. William Sandy Darity, Dr. Derek Hamilton. I'm assuming Dr. Mark Paul, Dr. Allen Ahad, Dr. Ann Price, Mr. Antonio Ward, Esquire, and Katarina Clopris. I don't know if they wrote this, but it's their document. Samuel Dubois, Cook Center on Social Equity, Insight Center for Community Economic Development, April 2018. This book, folks, is free for anyone. It's a PDF. You can all go download it. And it is chock full of information that is very helpful. And what it does, it goes point by point of all the things people say about the racial wealth gap and how to get things wrong, and it answers it with data and facts. So speaking directly to what Dr. Umar just said, that we have this money, we're going to be using this document to deal with Dr. Umar's claims. Now let's go back to Dr. Umar, and let's let him keep talking.
Yes, we should get reparations. Yes, we are entitled to reparations, but we don't need them. We don't need them.
I gotta stop him again, because that right there. That's his opinion. He said we don't need them. Dr. Umar Johnson. The average black family is worth 10% of the average white family. How dare you say we don't need money? That's owed to us. Like, you don't get to tell black people what they need. Like, if somebody owe me money, Dr. Umar, respectfully, my brother, let me decide if I think they should pay me. Oh, you're going to come up with some idea that lets them off the hook for owing me money? I thought you were an advocate for black folks. Why do you want to let off the federal government for paying me the money that they owe me? They sure as hell wouldn't let me off the hook if I missed my taxes. What is you talking about? We don't need it. Hey, man, if you owe me $500, give me my $500. Just so happens, according to estimates, conservatively, they owe us, 17 trillion, 20 trillion? That's the low end. We could go higher in the quadrillions, numbers that don't like your mind can't even wrap around how much we were worth and have been worth to this country without compensation. We were the currency of the day, sir. Your ancestors were the currency of the day, sir, for multiple generations. At least mine were. I'm assuming you're American descendants of slavery. You may not be. Which could be telling why you're on this side of this issue. But here we go. I hate to read this to you, but I'm going to have to read it to you because it's too important. So bear with me, guys, just a little bit. Just let's go through this. No, I'm sorry. Let me play him a little bit more. Because this gets lengthy. I want you to hear more because I was going to play the whole thing. Then I thought, let me interrupt him. Let me play a little bit more, Dr. Umar, before I do it.
Yes, we should get reparations. Yes, we are entitled to reparations, but we don't need them. We don't need them. We a $2 trillion economy. Why do we need reparations? Why? Why? Why is that? Why is that? Huh? Did you ask for reparations to buy that weave? Did you ask for reparations to buy that perm? Did you ask for reparations to buy that Louis bag? Did you ask for reparations to get the Gucci bag? Did you ask for reparations for them Jordans? Did you ask for reparations for that big old truck you got? Did you?
See. Damn it, man. Dr. Umar sound like those Negroes that we need to retire, man. I'm sorry, man. You sound like the Negroes. We need to get rid of them, man. You sound like, those preachers that talk down to black people? Talk down to them like something wrong with black people for wanting to pay his shoes? Whew. All people buy shoes, Dr. Umar. White women get their hair done. They do some stuff we don't do, like tan. Like therapists. Like masseuses. We all talking about like getting pampered, right? So white women do things black women don't do. They may not go get a weave, but they go get tan and they go get, a lot more formal wear, that they probably wear because they're in a higher tax bracket. They may have to go those places. They probably go on more vacations. What is it with, it sounds like Obama-esque, where you talk down to black people and make it seem like something's their fault. This is laughable. Listen. Maury Gittleman and Edward Wolf, using data from the panel study on income dynamics, PSID, tracked the financial position of black folks and white folks, black families and white families, and found that once income is controlled, if anything, black families actually have a slightly higher savings rate than their white counterparts. Dr. Umar likes to repeat himself. Let me repeat myself. Let me say that again. According to a recent study, or a study conducted by Maury Gittleman and Edward Wolf, using data from a panel study on income dynamics, PSID, tracked the financial position of black families and white families and found that once income is controlled, because we're talking about percentages of spent money that you have. Not how much money you have, but how much of the percentage of the money that you spend of your total amount. We found that black families actually save slightly higher amounts or save at a slightly higher rate than their white counterparts, which contradicts everything you just said. And it's easy to be contradicted for you to make a bad statement when you're not reading any data or any facts. You're just talking, and you're talking down to black people. Now, this is all in this PDF I was telling you about, that the professors, economic stratification, Dr. Dirk Hamilton, and economists, also Dr. Sandy Dirty, that are outlined in this report. Here we go. The mild savings rate advantage is indicative of even a greater thriftiness amongst blacks, since they typically have more kin obligations to assist low-income relatives, which further reduces the ability to save. So since we are black, Dr. Umar, We typically have more obligations to our poor friends, our poor siblings, our family members who need our help. That's because of our position. Remember what I told you, the average black family is worth about 10% of the average white family because of the racial wealth gap that black people have compared to white folks. That's the reason why we need reparations, because we will never catch up, Dr. Umar. Now, if your job or what you're pushing for is not for us to ever actually catch up to white folks and be equal to them financially, if that's not your agenda, then maybe what you're saying doesn't make sense, but I can see your point. But see, that's my agenda. I would hope that you want us to have equality, not just for us to continue to flounder. So the reason why we're in this condition where black folks have to help poor friends and poor relatives is because we were poorer because of segregation, Jim Crow, discrimination, redlining, a litany of mass incarceration, over-incarceration, eminent domain, taking our land, you name it, they've done it to us. The government has done this to us. No fair deal, no New Deal, no GI Bill, just a raw deal. You understand what I'm saying? So if we are ever to get our money right, reparations is needed. It goes on to say, if anything, it appears that blacks generally live more frugal lives than whites. So who you really should be talking to, Dr. Umar, this is going to trip you out, because I know you don't like this. But you really should be going to talk to white folks, because white folks really spend a lot of money that they don't have. They really do. That's what they do because they have more expendable income. A study conducted by the Institute of Assets and Social Policy using a 2013 survey of consumer finances found that at comparable levels of income, whites spend 1.3 times more than blacks. You can look this up. This is all, this is not my opinion. Like it is what it is. It's like 2 + 2 is 4. But it goes on to say, it says nonetheless, the conventional wisdom has it that blacks in search of immediate gratification lack self-control. Sort of like the way you talk. And are plagued uniquely by a culture of frivolous consumerism. Wow, I think a lot of people buy it too because they keep hearing people like you say it over and over that black people don't know how to handle their money. It's not about you handling your money. It's about the amount of money you have to handle. You got $2. You ain't making it rain. You can save $1 if you want. It says the myth was magnified that we're frugal with money by Ronald Reagan. Yeah, Ronald Reagan used the welfare queen trope during his campaign and recently via internet financial gurus pushing images of black Americans spending on Jordan brand Nike shoes. And you just say something about shoes? Dr. Umar, I think you may have inspired this writer. It sounds like he's talking to you or talking about you. Like, did you say this before? Because he's saying exactly the stuff you're saying that people, it says, the belief was magnified by Ronald Reagan's use of the welfare queen trope during his campaign and recently via internet financial gurus pushing images of black Americans spending money on Jordan brand Nike shoes rather than household needs. Yet, the empirical evidence indicates that it has not been the case historically, nor is it the case today, that blacks are more financially wasteful than whites. In addition to Gittleman and Wolf, the 2004 study I earlier cited, economists ranging from arch-conservative Milton Friedman to Marjorie Gallinson to Marcus Alexis, a founder of the Caucus of Black Economists, they all found that black folks have a slightly higher savings rate than white. So, Dr. Umar, I know what you said, but you don't know what you're talking about, and it's evident if you read Economist. And I'm only correcting you because you're wrong. And I think it's detrimental that black people walk around thinking that you are correct when you are not correct. You're totally incorrect. Now, we're going to come back to that study because we got another study we can talk about. There was a piece written by a sister, Sincerely Michelle. It's by Michelle Singletary. Now, this was published in the Washington Post, okay? And this was earlier this year, like a year ago, 2020, November 2020, okay? And she goes on to say, it's a misconception that black people would be wealthier if they just did not spend so much on clothes, sneakers, and cars. Like so many other misrepresentations, when it comes to black people and how they spend and save, stereotypes supplant substantive analysis. So what she's saying here is that, Dr. Umar, you are perpetuating a stereotype. And I wonder why you want to do that. Here goes some numbers. Because white families had the highest level of median and mean family wealth, $188,200. And $983,000, $983,400. Now, those numbers, Dr. Umar, those come from the Federal Reserve, 2019. The Survey of Consumer Finances. Black families, median and mean wealth is less than 15% than that of white families. So she placed it a little higher. Okay? A little bit higher than the previous report. But when you look at we compare black families and white families to wealth, it's such a vast difference. It has nothing to do with shoes or clothes. According to we look at the expenditures, how much we spend. Black households spend an average of $639 on footwear in 2019, compared with $419 for all households. Now that's according to the Labor Department's 2019 Consumer Expenditure Survey. When it comes to women's and girls' clothing, black households spent $784 compared with a national average of $704. Dr. Umar, I'm sorry, sir, but the difference is $150 per household. Reparations, sir, as I stated before, a conservative number puts us in the high teens, maybe 20 trillion. If we add $200 to that, that's like giving a whale a Tic Tac. That's not going to work. So let's listen to some more Dr. Umar. I don't want to monopolize the conversation. Let's listen to Dr. Umar be wrong some more, then we'll come back to what I was talking about.
Yes, we should get reparations. Yes, we that Louis bag. Did you ask for reparations to get the Gucci bag? Did you ask for reparations for them Jordans? Did you ask for reparations for that big old truck you got? Did you ask for reparations for that big house in the suburbs? Did you ask for reparations before you put your black kid in a white private school? Did you ask for reparations for any of the Negro things you do on a daily basis? I have never seen you ask for reparations to buy or pay for none of the shit you like to do.
Wow, man. That's pretty bad, yo. That's pretty bad. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I gotta say, on the commentary side, I don't know, maybe I should save it. Let me just say this. It's amazing how you think that black people should not enjoy their lives. Latinos enjoy their lives. At least they try to, right? Asians try to enjoy their lives. White people try to enjoy their lives. Everyone wants to enjoy their lives. We're only here for a short amount of time, Dr. Umar. Why are you berating black people for enjoying their time on this planet? And what does that have to do with reparations? And why are you suggesting people want reparations to go buy purses? As if every black person is buying a Gucci purse. What kind of drug dealers are you hanging out with? Who are the people that are going to buy Gucci purses who like, I need reparations so I can go buy a purse? But why are you pocket watching what black people do with their money when we don't even have money? Pocket watch some white folks. They got the money. Go pocket watch them. And why aren't you advocating for us getting the money or getting our debt paid so that we could afford nice things like other people have? Why should we not afford nice things? Why is it that let's take your premise. If we even accept your premise, which I do not, I flatly reject it. I call it nonsensical. But if I had to say, if we wanted to play devil's advocate and say, you make sense when you don't, why is it that black people are in this condition? It's the same thing I like to ask callers. Why? It's a good answer. I mean, that's a good way to start the conversation. Why is it that black people need reparations? Why would they ask for reparations? I mean, I know the answer to it. So does Sean Rochester, an economist who wrote this great book called The Black Tax. He calls it the 2% rule. Now, this book is very quick, very small, very short, but it's full of information about how black people got to the condition that we are at. If you go to page 89, research shows that black Americans were often restricted to 2% levels or less in many vitally important aspects of the economy, politics, and society at large. These places that we were restricted from are these areas, are the direct areas where you accumulate wealth. It's not the shoes, it's not the hair, it's not Netflix, brother. We ain't the only ones with a Netflix account. Netflix would be out of business if they had to just count on us. We ain't the only ones with an iPhone. We ain't the only ones that watch that Mike Tyson fight. Okay? So, here we go. Black Americans were emancipated but not denied land, capital, credit, fair wages, means of production, skills development, and free trade, all of which were far below the 2% level. Black folks have held less than 2% of U.S. wealth for 350 years. They've owned less than 2% of U.S. land for 400 years. Currently, we're at 1%. You can't buy land with Jordan shoe money. You need reparations to buy land. If we would have had reparations, maybe we would have land. If land was not stolen from us via eminent domain by the government or by being terrorized by white terrorists known as the KKK, we would have fled our land. You understand? So we're in this predicament not because of something we did, and it just really bothers me that you would make that claim. Let me keep going now. We've held less than 2% of almost all high-skilled, high-paying jobs in all industries for 150 years after emancipation. So for 150 years, we were locked out, effectively locked out. Not everyone, but effectively in adequate numbers. In numbers to change the bottom line, we were knocked out of these high-skilled jobs that paid major money. You know, like CEO, COO, CTO, and C3PO. They received less than 2% of the 246 million acres distributed to 1.5 billion Americans via the Homestead Act of 1862, which I've covered on this show. You should watch the Tim Black show. You should watch Pause with Tim Black. We'd be great together. You should watch this. You'll learn this stuff, man. I'm going to keep going because this is not for Dr. Umar. He'll probably not see this video. This is for people that listen to Dr. Umar who are going to see the title of this and be like, what do you say about Dr. Umar? He's going to be like, oh, okay. I want you to be educated. about the condition of black folks so that you understand we don't need reparations to go buy shoes. We don't want reparations to take trips. Reparations is a debt owed. And that's why these numbers exist. And the reason that these numbers exist are the reason why we need reparations. That it's a circular situation. We receive less than 2% of the $120 billion distributed to Americans via federal housing subsidies. Do you hear me, Dr. Umar and friends? There was $120 billion distributed via the FHA. We didn't get it. Somebody got it. It wasn't us. That's a problem. Now I'm starting to get angry because this is not a thick book. And all that Sean Rochester did was curate facts. He didn't generate the facts themselves. He didn't conduct the studies. He curated the facts. Meaning, people like Dr. Umar Johnson, if they wanted to know the facts, they could look them up and write their own book. You, as a professor, should be held to a higher standard, sir. It's like I'm talking to a bigoted progressive or a bigoted conservative who doesn't know what they're talking about, who's shitting on black people, and I don't like it. Hell is wrong with you, man? Black folks receive less than 2% of the $95 billion distributed to Americans via the GI Bill. Less than 2%. Black folks went, put their lives on the line, and then got stiffed on the GI Bill. And then you say, we need to stop buying hair. No, why are you afraid to challenge the establishment? Should I stop? Why are you afraid to challenge the establishment on behalf of black people? Who got to you? Why would you make such a claim? Well, if I had not been paying attention, is this your usual rhetoric that you talk down on reparations for brothers and sisters, for black descendants of slaves? You talk down on us about getting what my Jewish brothers and sisters got, for getting what my Japanese brothers and sisters got. You talk down on us for getting what's owed to us. Why would you do that? Why do you want to open a school to educate black kids and then just have them be too poor when they get out? Do you realize that black people are 13% of the population, but half the homeless population? And you're asking us, why do we need reparations? What black people do you hang around? Are you hobnobbing in circles of black people that got it like that? The average black person does not have it like that, Dr. Umar Johnson. What black people are you kicking it with? Have you been doing it so long that you've attained a certain level of pseudo-celebrity that affords you the ability to look down your nose or to pretend that poor black people don't exist? Well, respectfully, sir, for all those poor black people, I like to say, what up? Get your shit right. You off code. Now, I know some people won't say that to you, but I say it to you because it's true. I don't revel in it. That's something I intended to do today. Tell Dr. Umar he don't know what he's talking about, but you don't, and you should learn. This is shameful, bro, for real. This is shameful. Black folks receive less than 2% of the $50 billion distributed to Americans via the New Deal. Dude, I don't know if you know this, but the New Deal came out like 1935, 1939, something like that. You know how much $50 billion was worth then? Black Americans need reparations. Why? Because we receive less than 2% of agricultural subsidies. Payments distributed to American farmers. Less than 2%. Less than 2% of adult black population was allowed to attain college degrees as of 1950. Dr. Umar says a little bit more, guys, but I'm not going to play it. He just continued to berate black people and blame them for their own condition. blame it on stuff like hairdos and shoes and things we do and that Negroes do. I'm here to tell you, Dr. Umar, that shit don't work no more, man. It just doesn't. Because it is a fallacy. It is nonsense. And it does not help us get where we need to go. We should be collecting our debt. Now, I understand you may think this is a hard struggle. Yes, I agree. But that does not mean we don't fight for it. You understand what I'm saying? But even if you think that reparations may not come, so we need to do this and do that, brother, that still does not justify the berating of nonsense, making nonsense points that are factually incorrect. Black people do not overspend. We're underfinanced. And still, somehow we came up with a way to fund you. I'm going to be respectful. Though I don't think you were being very respectful to us, but I guess that's the way that you normally talk to black folks. Black folks, why are you allowed this man to talk to you like this? I mean, maybe it applies to some people that they feel that they need a lecturing to. Not about this. Black people did not create this situation. I would have commented if you hadn't brought in reparations. You comparing apples to pizzas. They got no relation to each other at all. Unless you're talking pineapples. And if that's the case, I hate pineapples. So that don't count either. And this ain't Hawaii. So motherfucker, respectfully, let's get our rhetoric correct. I guess maybe you've been allowed to talk this way because ain't nobody talking back to you. I don't know what it is. But this is horrible, man. I hope you do better, Dr. Umar. Respectfully, guy, get your shit together. Black folks ain't poor because black folks don't know how to handle their money. Black folks are poor because America fucked us. That's why we're poor, okay? It ain't because we mishandling. You can do all the juggling you can do. Black people are very thrifty. Look up the information I gave you. Folks, please seek out the resource, the sources of my information. I didn't just talk to you. I'm quoting from documentation. You can also go look up yourselves. Actify Press, Drs. Derek Hamilton, Dr. Sandy Durrity, they both appeared on the Tim Black Show because we talked to professors who are knowledgeable in their given expertise. Dr. Umar is a psychologist or psychotherapist or something, right? A teacher or something, I don't know. But this is not your area. And I respect, stay in your lane, sir. There's less traffic.